Welcome back to the 6th Gear Garage. Today's project is adding reverse to a 2017 Yamaha EX base model, and I'll be doing that using manual reverse parts for an EX Sport. EX base models never had reverse as an option because it's an entry-level ski, but for around $300 in parts plus a couple hours labor, you can have reverse. I've seen the complete kits for sale on eBay, or I'll put a link to the full parts list in the description to see if you can save a few bucks piecing it together yourself. Here's the list of parts I have here. There's also some parts to install the OEM rear step in this list, and those alone add up to almost $200. So you're looking at around $250 to $275 in reverse kit parts, depending on what your local dealer charges. The dealer also supplied these diagrams. I'll put a link for these in the description as well. This one's for the rear step. The two on the right are for reverse. Here's all the parts needed for the manual reverse installation. I'll go over each of these in detail as I put them on. A lot of little pieces and parts. There's the handle, the actual lever, bucket, and the cable. Getting this sorted took a little while. The letter next to the part number says what diagram it's from. B for bucket, C for cable, and L for ladder, which we'll do in another video. Then the number beside the description corresponds to the number in the diagrams. First I had to remove the seat, storage compartments, side panels, and the whole black plastic section on top of the hull to get better access to everything. On the black plastic top piece, there's this rubber hose just dangling around in the hull. This end was supposed to go down to the battery box. There's a diagram showing how it should go. I need to remove this bolt too. This trim cover needs to come off, but if you just try to pry it straight up, there's a white plastic clip that's probably going to break. So I need to remove some more stuff to slide the entire cover up. Next I removed the Allen head bolts from the back of the handlebar cover. They were a combo of 4mm and 5mm. Now I can press in this clip and the top cover will pop right off. With that out of the way, I can slide this trim cover up and it comes right off. It's held on with these two clips up here and that white plastic clip at the bottom. I can bend the lower bar cover a little to remove it. Now this black cover can move. Everything I've done so far is just to get some room to move this black cover up. Now there's a wire harness keeping it down. I'll just cut the zip tie holding the wire for now. Now grab something. A life jacket works great. And I'll use it to hold up the cover. And pull it out and away from the hull. Now I have room to work. Looking back in here, the holes for the metal lever bracket are already there. There's two. There's the third. Here's the metal bracket. 1, 2, and on the back, 3. And these two holes at the top, they attach to the plastic handle, which will replace this block-off cover. To remove that block-off plate, I have to unbolt these two Allen head screws from the bottom, and they're 4mm. I used a long extension on a 1/4-inch ratchet to get to the screws, and this is all it is. Okay, just ran into an issue. These 3 number 9 screws are supposed to fit the metal bracket. There's the part number right at the top there. Here's that part. It's a screw, not a bolt. Not gonna work. These must be for the step. I've got some of these metric M6 by 1.0 bolts. They're from one of my Toyotas, and they fit perfect. Pop open the console here. Inside, you see one up there and 2, 3 holes down here. The metal bracket goes on this side, and the bolts screw in through the console side of the plastic. There we go. Nice zinc-coated Toyota bolts on that side, bracket mounted on this side. Now it's time to drill the hull. It comes pre-marked from the factory. There, that's a little easier to see now. I only get one shot at this part. Don't want to mess up, you know. This metal bracket, it mounts under the hull through these two small holes. And this rubber mount goes with it. It sits on the bracket and acts as a seal for the cable to pass through, right here. Get a drill bit just slightly larger than the diameter of the studs. I've got just enough space for a drill in here. Just be sure to keep the drill perpendicular to the surface of the hull. Now I have my largest bit, 1 inch. And I'll use this to drill out the big oval-shaped hole. This took a while, probably because my bit was pretty dull. Be sure not to breathe in this dust. I'm going to try a hole saw to speed this up. Oh yeah, much faster. Then I drilled a second hole for the front of the oval. Dremel time. Be sure to wear a mask so you don't breathe this fiberglass dust. The holes were a little tight, so I used the Dremel again to enlarge them. Time for a test fit. That's better. Now, let's try it with the rubber mount. Not quite enough on the oval. You can see where there's dust on the rubber. That's where I need to cut more. It's tight, but it fits. This bracket uses these two lock nuts, but I can't install it just yet. The cable has to go in first. Grab this rubber sleeve, and that fits between the cable and the rubber mount. Then it all goes together like this. And the cable has a groove that fits right in the notch. Before I tighten these lock nuts down, I'm making sure the rubber mount is all the way seated. Now I can set this cover back down, and this is how the handle fits on. It attaches with these two 4mm Allen head bolts. They have some thread lock pre-applied. Also, note the beveled edge so they sit flush. Now I'm lifting the handle, and the pivot point for the cable is moving down to the cable. Now I can slide the collar back on the cable. Oh wait, before I connect the cable, I'm getting a little grease to put in the hole. Now, connect the cable to the pivot point, and done. Do a quick test. And we're good. Now I'm at the back of the ski, and you can see a raised mark on the surface. Right there. I need to drill that out. And this is my only drill bit that's long enough to reach. So I'll start with this and then enlarge it with the Dremel like I did on the other holes. That was dusty. The hole is ready for the cable. However, this isn't going to fit through. Only the threaded part will fit. I got a little ahead of myself hooking up the cable. So I need to detach the cable up to the lever, run it back through here again, and take it all the way out. And then fish it through from the back. Before I put the cable back through, there's a little rubber gasket that has to go on. And then this plastic nut will go on the inside of the hull around the cable. So here goes the front end of the cable. Now I'll go around and pull it through. Oops, almost took out the camera there. And then the threaded plastic fitting stops at the hole. And then this plastic nut. Now I can install this again in the hole I cut. Then put the lock nuts on for the last time. And don't forget the rubber sleeve too. Alright, the cable is all installed. Running along the right side here, along the bottom, and out the back. In the hull, I need to remove this clamp, and this one back here. And I can get this box out of the way to give me some more room to work back in here. There's the cable and plastic nut. You can see all the fiberglass dust on the inside. Before I tighten the plastic nut down, I'm going to put a little silicone around the hole just for some extra insurance to make it waterproof. Then push the plastic threaded part through. Now just tighten the nut from the inside. If you don't have anybody to hold the nut on the outside while you turn it on the inside, vice grips help. It's kind of cramped, but it'll get there. Just don't over tighten and damage the plastic threads. All done. Nice and snug. So I just zip tie the cable here and here, just so it's not flopping around. Now I can put the box back in. Tight fit, but it's in. All right, time to install the bucket. This is where the cable attaches. And I have that piece here. And the washer. And that pivot hardware where the cable attaches just goes right on like that. So up here we have a bolt and washer, collar, and a spring. And here's the bolt with the washer and lock washer, collar, and spring. And those go on like this. Now I'm on 2 and 3 here. And these 12mm bolts are 2. This spacer collar is 3. And they go in the big holes and into here and here. And those will let the bucket pivot up and down when I pull the cable. So I've got the bucket in place. The collar fits right in here. Then I'll get the bolt started by hand. Nice and snug with a ratchet. The back end of the cable attaches to the pivot point the same way the front did. Put a little bit of grease in this one too. Just slide the outside back. It's spring loaded, much easier to do with 2 hands. And on it goes. Then this spring, vice grips seem to make this easier. Look at that, right on. Test time. Right now the bucket's down in reverse mode. Up, down, up, perfect. Now everything on the hole just needs to be reassembled the same way it came apart, and the job is complete. I also have a rear step to install on this Yamaha, so I'll do that in another video. Thanks for watching, and consider subscribing for more how-to videos and project updates here at the 6th Gear Garage.